Okay.
Hmm.
All right, we're good. We can start.
Okay.
Um, Hello and welcome to Genesis Life at 4 p.m. Every day at 4 p.m., we have live shows exclusively for the 60 plus to tune in and actively join buzzing conversations around special interests from movies to live comedy, health and fitness, and much more. Genesis Life is an online and offline platform designed for the needs of today's 60 plus by the 60 plus. For all those who are watching the live stream on the YouTube channel Genesis Life Official, you can actively join and participate in our live sessions on the Genesis Life app. To do so, you must be 60 plus. You can download and subscribe to Genesis Life on app or Play Store, and you can also access the app on a web browser. Log on to genes.life for more info. You can also gift it to your 60 plus friends and family members. You can also WhatsApp us on 882-881-6060 with any questions, comments, and content. So now I pass the spotlight on to Gauri Dange, our host, and we can start with the next episode of Dil Ki Baatein.
Thank you, Shazib. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Hi. Uh, like we've been telling you that this is going to be an hour of Dil Ki Baatein is going to be an hour of airing, sharing, and caring. So here we take up one question from a viewer and perhaps bring our collective wisdom to responding to the situation जो outline हो रहा है. Uh, while the question may be, particular to the person who has written in, we will see how it could be an issue जो हम सबको impact हो सकता है कभी ना कभी आगे जाके. So in the sense, while the question may be particular, there is a certain universal nature of the issue that comes up, and we are going to look at it like that. We are not just answering the specifics of the questions that come. So let's see how this goes. देखते हैं कि आज का question क्या है और इसका हल क्या हो सकता है. Right? Let me read you the question. This has come from Janaki M. The theme, like we announced last time, is being over-policed by your grown children. When the parent and child roles reverse a little too strongly in later years. Okay, that is the theme. So, Janaki M likhti hai, I live on my own in the same city as my daughter and her family, who are just 5 kilometers away from me. I'm 70, retired from a senior government job. While I liked my work and the field, which was project planning and finance, she says, I have not much interest left in that field anymore. She's retired. I occupy my time with daily chores and a few hobbies, which I enjoy: light exercise, walks, meeting friends, or Zoom chats a few times a week. I watch serials on TV, sometimes also binge watching, as she's written. When my daughter and granddaughter drop in, there is a problem. They tend to worry about how I should be doing intellectually more stimulating work after the kind of work life that I have already led. My Saas Bahu dramas that I watch come under a lot of criticism. Some of my hobbies, as well as some new friends who are always housewives, are criticized and questioned by my daughter, my grown daughter. I keep hearing from my daughter that at least I should learn a new skill, do consultancy work, I should find ways to guest lecture somewhere, and I should write a book. Frankly, she says, I'm not interested in any of that anymore. How do I stop their fears and anxiety? I sometimes hear them saying things like could lead to dementia, Alzheimer's. These words are in the air. I find myself, frankly, lying like a small child to them when they ask me what my day was like. I also am careful to keep news channel running when they arrive, and even keep some of my old finance books out visible, and do not discuss anything that I really watch on TV with them. I understand their concern, ma'am, but I am tired of this. This is Janaki's question. Before we throw it open here, just a few points. Indeed, it is a reversal of roles. All of you must be remembering a time when you were at your desk pretending to study, but hiding a comic book inside it, or doodling, or doing stuff that you're not supposed to do. And as soon as a parent comes in, you know deftly how to hide what you were doing, because you're not doing what you should be doing. And so, I mean, jokes apart, I was taken up with how many shoulds came up in this question. Should not, should, uh, is what is what she's getting from her daughter. All in, no doubt, with daughterly concern. All not meant to just harass her, but the concern. That's why we've called it over policing, when the roles get reversed a little too strongly. So uh, some of it is concern, of course. Some of it is a parent being held to some old standard, some old standard. My mother was so she says she was a bureaucrat. She was I'll tell you what she said. She was project planning finance, senior government job, project planning and finance. So, if everybody around you, but more importantly, in this case, the daughter is holding you to a kind of high standard. You used to be this. Now you better not be anything but this. There is some amount of judgment about the kind of friends she's making. So there is, I think, a preconceived notion of how Janki should go into her old age, given all the stuff that she has done. Well, Janki, to me, it seems that Janki finds that now unnecessary baggage. She's done her bit. She's hung up her boots. Now this is baggage, and that stamp of financial planner doesn't sit well with her anymore. She's done it. Must have done it for, if she's a senior bureaucrat, must have done it for what, 40 years of her life, probably. And now, uh, what is firstly, the words, I really feel that the words dementia and Alzheimer's are almost being used nowadays like a Bagal Baba, this Bagal Baba, this some kind of monster, Bagal Baba aega, kind of how you scare your children. It is being used loosely. Of course, it is a serious issue, but to be used loosely, if you don't do this, this will happen, I think is not definitely not required. Not It's also a sign of some kind of breakdown of communication, where if the daughter is pulling out that arrow from her quiver, you'll lose your mind. There's a whole lot of in between things that can be talked before these kind of, if you don't do this, that will happen again. You must have noticed the shadows, or the echoes are of when we were young, and you were told, you don't study hard enough and you'll grow up to sweep the school, you'll get a role as a janitor in the school. This kind of awfulizing, in counseling we call it awfulizing the situation, kind of overstating the what can happen in our desperation to get either a child, or in this case a parent, to step up and listen to us. Then we are awfulizing the consequences. And I think this part of it, of saying you could get brain deterioration basically of some kind, is firstly that has to be a little more education about from where Alzheimer's and where dementia comes from. The other thing is, I would advise anyone, any of us, some of us have super senior older parents too, is to, I would say, it's important to be concerned about the senior person in our life. Or it's important that we are concerned, or we recognize the concern as seniors ourselves. But worry is a very heavy load to take on our heads. My daughter worries about me, so I have to be careful. It's very counterproductive. Just plain worry. Just like when we were growing up, if your parents explain something to you as their concern, I'm concerned about this, but I worry, free floating worry. It's a burden, and it doesn't really get you to do uh, you know uh, adopt behaviors which are, say, safe, or fulfilling, or whatever it is that the other person wants you to do. Just the worry is too much of a burden to carry. So I would say to anyone who's also dealing with a senior themselves here, and themselves a senior who's dealing with situations like this, that concern is a legitimate and acceptable emotion that comes from a younger person to you. But worry and awfulizing is something that you need to, separate, segregate from this. Now, what is the way to segregate it without without just saying, you keep quiet, I'll be all right? Or this other thing, which is almost sneaking around and doing what you want to do, sneaking around because my daughter will worry. I think the time has possibly come, and we'll talk about this more, for her to, uh, for Janki to have a frank call for a frank discussion, not when it's going on. I always say this, don't bring up naughty problems uh, during wartime, not when it's actually going on. Bring it up in peacetime. Bring it up when she's not come into the room and saying, what are you watching? Why is this here? Why is that there? But do it as a separate date that you make with your daughter, and say, I want to talk about this. I know you are concerned, but these are signs that I'm quite fulfilled. Maybe she needs to tell her, she needs to hear from her what Janaki's ideal day is like, and what Janaki really wants to do, and what she's doing. Not out of default, not out of not knowing better, and not out of being crammed into some intellectual pursuit, which she's currently not up for. She's not saying I don't want any intellectual pursuits. She's saying this particular thing, which you have pigeonholed me, you're a finances specialist, do your finance, teach, become a guru, write a book, become a consultant. All of this is for her a closed chapter of a book. If this can be actually spelled out, and yet with the reassurance that I'm not sitting vacantly staring at the walls, if that's what you're worried about, I'm not. As for the intellectual, that is the name for it, intellectual snobbery of having an opinion of why is my mother being friends with a person who's just been a housewife all her life. I think that is truly, truly none of anybody's business, the friends you make. Truly, you can't have a should in that. So again, in a diplomatic way, to say that there are many things that I derive from this friendship or that friendship that is very different from what you've seen me as. Acknowledge that this grown child is seeing you in a very new light, which she's not used to. She's used to the mother with the brainy financial consultant going to work every day, people looking up to you, that whole thing. She's used to that. So she probably needs to get her own mind round what makes her mother tick. And I think the onus is on us. Suppose my child is saying to me that, why are you binge watching Friends or something? Uh, the onus is on me to tell them what I get out of it. And what I get doesn't have to be all the time intellectually sound, intellectually impressive, you know. Uh, one other suggestion I have for Janki is that, or anybody in this situation, is that if there is so much worry and concern about what you are doing with your time, maybe a more playful and happy visit would involve her and her daughter, and she has mentioned a granddaughter who comes along too. Maybe you do something which is mentally stimulating. Intellectually is too big a word, and unnecessary word. Mentally stimulating. Maybe you decide you'll play a board game together. Maybe you decide if So I know some people who are putting together uh, a cookbook to commemorate some past ancestors' birth anniversary. They're putting together family recipes. I'm not saying this specific thing for Janki to do, but an example. Maybe you reserve that time and you pull in your daughter to do something with you, instead of only dropping in, visiting, and saying, you should do this, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't. So maybe she can come up with would you like to do this with me once a week? Would you like to play Scrabble with whatever? I mean, there's much more interesting, and I mean all kinds of things beyond Scrabble also, where then in a way you're kind of bearding the person who's after you to say, हाँ ठीक है ना, करेंगे कुछ दूसरा, come you and me, let's do it together. I would even go so far as to say that, why not draw the person in and say, you just mocking and dismissing all this Saas Bahu stuff. This is why I enjoy it. Would you like to see an episode with me? You can laugh, you can scoff, but would you like to see it? Some playful bridges to throw out there is, I think, one of the ways of going forward to find a common ground to interact. Instead of this chore police game that is going on between them, literally chore police is going on, where daughter comes and this one is, thinking of how to hide the evidence of what she's been doing. It's also very corrosive. We may find it a bit funny, but it's corrosive to be at some level feeling judged and found wanting and feeling that you are letting down your daughter. All of it is a burden, it's a real burden. And the rift can only increase because you are investing now time in avoiding, fabricating a scenario which is not there. Instead of using psycho energy, so much psycho energy in this, it probably makes sense to use that energy into finding some common space in which she and her daughter can interact. And she can come straight out and say, reassure. What I'm doing is not as duffer, to use the word we used to use in school. I'm not being such a duffer. I'm not just doing some silly backbencher stuff all day. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. The letter is longer. She talks even about urges me not to do house chores and to leave it to the maid. But as seniors, I think house chores are, they keep your hands and legs moving. They can be very meditative. And the bottom line is it's finally your choice what you do with your current life, whatever your previous life was like, whatever your previous life was about. What you do with your current life is your own business. But the important thing is to not put it like that. It's not to, jump out and say, listen, you mind your business, I'll mind my. It's not to let it go to that, but to find an artistic way to indicate that, I am minding my own business and not so badly. I'm not doing it so badly. I wonder if this is a thing. Okay, let's hear from you. Would anyone like to add something here? Share their thoughts or have a question on the same lines about, Janki's situation or anybody's situation in this this pattern.
Yeah, I would like to say, like
No.
everybody, all of us are going through, because in those days, like when we were working, we used to have a very hectic life. We
Yeah.
had nothing. We were so preoccupied and we were busy in our own life, and we were looking after office as well as house. So we had hardly any time for ourselves.
Yes.
Now we are retired and we have fully time with ourselves. Now children are also away, and even if they're around, they come, go, and they visit us, and we feel nice about it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we are given so much of space. So sometimes you tend to feel that you're bored,
Okay.
or you're doing something which is not concrete or nothing. It doesn't. There is no goal or there is no aim in life left. That is how we feel. But it's not like that. Like we all have to accept and adjust according to our circumstances.
Yeah.
And at least I feel very happy if I'm not doing anything. I did try my best to start something, side pastime, something not for money, but just to kill my time or something.
Okay. Yeah.
But my one son is here and one son is abroad. So we stay 6 months over there, 6 months here. So sometimes, it's not possible for me to cope up, with the situation over here and there. So I left it. It is somewhat like freelancing or something like, like just to kill my time to go sit somebody's office or do the kill the day and all that. But now I feel that it's not that difficult. Initially, we all felt. Now I'm already 68, and I think almost more than 10 years I'm retired, and I feel it's fine. It's nothing to complain. Of course, my kids also tell me, "Mama, what are you doing whole day? What are you doing? Doing nothing. Where every day you can't expect me to go out to somebody to visit me or somebody to come and visit us. Correct? But we find the opportunity to when we have, and I don't complain also that I'm getting bored.
That's the point also.
Because if I say so, then they have every right to say that, Mama, you're getting bored and you're complaining, do something. But I don't need to, because I feel that I have enough of interest. I do my embroidery, I watch TV, I read books, I do crossword, I do puzzles, I do games on computer. So I feel that I have got enough time to do that. Plus, when you're looking after the house, you're just in and out. You look, even if you have servants, you are keeping an eye what is happening. And the grandchildren also come and they visit us, and we are happy. We visit them, so we are happy. But I do agree that there are friends who says that that's exactly the same what you just now said. That, Mama, you are not doing anything concrete. You are not doing anything. You are not the same person. And that makes you feel very sad about the situation which you are in, because neither you can. And at this time, I'm not ready to take any more responsibility. We have worked enough for ourselves. And we are not dependent on anybody. So we don't need to just do for the sake of it. Unless you find it interesting, unless you are all into it. So they do understand now, but then they also used to say that you're not doing anything. What great you are doing in life. You're just gallivanting. You're doing time pass. You're not doing anything. But now they have realized that it's not that. Whatever I'm doing, I'm happy doing it. And then you respect that. Because if I have to give time, I give time to you. I'll give time to your children. I give time to whatever is priority is. But don't just tell me that I may not do anything, but I'm happy.
That's right.
As long as I don't complain, as long as my mind is on move, I don't just sit and laze around and I'm say, no, I'm getting bored, or what do I do? In fact, that is the right time. Now I get a time to think that what I should be doing, what would keep me active, how do I make friends, how do I revive all the old contacts. So that's the reason why, like you feel relaxed in life. Otherwise, you are always, well, now after retirement, what is next? Because there's nothing to look forward as such. And even if there is something to look forward, I'm not ready to take any responsibility for that and get stuck, binded by the situation.
And yet, Varsha, I'm sure you too, from what you're describing, I'm sure you never feel, when you wake up, you never feel, a lot of old people complain, they feel irrelevant. But from what you're describing, you don't feel irrelevant. The day is waiting for you to do whatever you've set out to do, right?
Correct.
And it's less goal based now.
And it's not required that one day before I have to plan my day, next day, what am I going to do? How am I going to kill my time and all? It just so happens, It just happens. And even if you are good friends and good surrounding and good people around, you always plan something. Tomorrow I'm going for a movie, day after I'm meeting this friend, somebody's coming to visit me. But now we don't need to plan it in advance. If there is nothing to do, you are at home. And you are not getting bored at all.
Correct.
So you have to tell yourself that you are not going to be a boring person, and complain to yourself that you are not going to be dependent on somebody to take you out or somebody to visit you or to tell you what to do.
Correct.
Then that is the only way we can remain young. Otherwise, if I also keep sitting like this, now what? I have nothing, and look at the stars and look at the sky. It's not going to help me,
And I think with Janki, she's the way she's described it, she's kind of got a day like this going, right?
Correct. Everybody, even if you are so active or socially active or working or anything, some days are like that. You have nothing to do.
Yeah. And I don't think that immediately translates into stagnating mind.
Yes, definitely not. Because your mind is not at rest all the time.
Yeah.
You do need a rest, but you are just, it's all your nature. I don't know how, but some people just, they don't want to do anything and keep complaining that I have nothing to do, I'm getting bored. But
Yeah.
I think we all have to work on it and
Yeah.
find our own passion and interest to do something.
Yeah. But as you were saying, even how you communicate this to your children in case they are
Yes, yes,
on your back a bit, what you're doing, how you communicate it. I'm not saying one has to be terribly diplomatic, but definitely not
harsh enough to hurt somebody. Yeah,
and not engage in a tutu meme. If something's coming up, like I'm telling Janki also, if something is coming up time and again, some theme, some pattern which is not comfortable, it's maybe important to, both of you get off the road and discuss it instead of when it's going on. You know, if
yes,
you, which is, you've been saying this, you're worried, I know, but you know what, I want to tell you, my day goes like this, and I'm very happy with it. I feel very fulfilled. I'm not feeling irrelevant. And also an underlying message that retirement is a reward for having pulled your weight for many, many, many years, you know. So uh, I know people who will say, I'll never retire, I will retire the day I fall down dead. I
yes,
think I think you don't need to be, as if piche bag, as if there's an animal chasing you, that you have to be so relevant all the time, Um, and yet the key thing is that not complaining. You feel you are not complaining. Janki feels she's not complaining. She's not saying how should my time pass, or look at my body of work. What am I doing with it? If she had that feeling,
yes,
I was this and I'm wasting my life. What can I do with this? Then by all means you take the guidance of younger people, and you find a place where you may go lecture, you take classes, whatever. Here, I think an older person's we cannot discount, just like we tell people, don't discount what a 9-year-old is saying. You're too small to understand is not a thing. You'll have to find another way to let that person understand. In the same way with older people, if your concern is that I hope your mind is active, I hope your body is active,
yes,
cannot come in the form of um, veiled threats and warnings. That I think is works for no age group, actually. So I also thought that this business of it is a very much an educated class person's thing of, there's almost a mental caste or class system in our heads about who should be whose friend, where she's talked about, the dismissive way we are using the word housewife here. This person has used the housewife. This is an unnecessary, completely unnecessary way of looking at the world in a terribly this or this kind of black or white. Working women are all the greatest, and non-working women don't make good company. I'm surprised that a younger person should put it this way, but this is a kind of um, mm, intellectual snobbery that we, all of us educated class people, might fall prey to, you know. And as you grow older, you yourself, even when we are younger, we will hang on with our types, what we call apne jaisa type. But
yeah,
as you grow older, you're quite you there is a certain amplification of your ability to connect with people. It's not on narrow channels, and you're quite happy to. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, it doesn't mean it should not be up for comment. I really feel about who chooses to be friends with whom, and it's no measure of anything to be. I would say to be emotionally connected to somebody in your advancing years is at least 100% more important than intellectually connected with somebody. Obviously, this lady, if she obviously had the route to, she could have stuck to her old, batchmates, her office mates, and kept on meeting them. The fact that she's not is something that the daughter needs to Accept that mother needs something else now from life. No? And tell me when any of you, if any of you have a thought on this, but when you're coming towards your retirement years, as you're approaching them, not when you're well entrenched in it, as you're coming towards it, there are enough indications, isn't it, about what you want to do with the next 20 years of your life, what you want to do. It's easily 20 years that we look at easily living without your original profession or job. It comes to some people, it comes very automatically to already start seeding what they're going to do, not just by default. I have time on my hand. Now I'll do this. I will just channel surf. A lot of people, I have in counseling, sometimes I meet people who have taken voluntary retirement. So they are younger than they plan to be, as retirees, younger than they plan to be. And some of the companies give them part of the exit thing is to give them the services of a counselor to deal with this transition, and the services of a financial consultant to also deal with the fact that now you have lump sum money suddenly, which you didn't think you're going to have. You thought you're going to have, say, a pension, whatever. And it is a pleasant surprise to see how particularly women already know the 20 things they want to do, which they couldn't do as when they were full-time parenting or full-time working, or doing a hybrid of both. They have very clear ideas of how they'll spend their money as well as spend their time. Maybe qualifying in something new, maybe taking on a whole new, hobby. I don't think we should see retirement as, suddenly somebody pushed you off the cliff. And now how are you going to scramble and hang on to the side of the cliff? It's not like that at all. I'm sure you have experienced that too. Of course, it's different. Of course, you're managing change. But I feel there's enough intimation that this is coming. It's coming. And you start planning for it. Besides financial, I'm saying planning for what you're going to do with a perfectly sound mind, a pretty decent health, and yet a less demanding life. That itself is a demand that we need to plan for. Anyone else wants to say something else on this? Varsha, you said you used this phrase when you were talking about you said I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining to anyone, right?
Yeah.
It's never come to that. Somebody help me, I'm getting so bored.
Right.
But isn't that, I'm wondering whether that has happened. It doesn't just happen. You've obviously put things in place where you won't be in a position where you're just.
But as I told you that we always have to find something to do it.
Right.
So if I either I look forward my grandkids to visit me, or I think of making something in the kitchen, or if I want to go out and spend some time marketing or shopping or with friends. So somewhere or the other in between, of course, you are at home resting, doing something or the other.
But I'm saying you must have known as you were heading towards retirement. What was if I can ask, what was your line of work?
I used to work with an airline.
Achha.
Travel, in the travel industry, yes.
So there is enough fair intimation to us that life as we know it is going to change, isn't it? Anyway, the age your company, you will know at this age is the cutoff time, and I'll stop coming to work. So
I also took 3 years early retirement.
Okay.
Because of So that's fine. I mean, we were dreading, what's going to happen to all of us, because We were so active, and
Yes.
suddenly it came to an end. So we were just wondering what, but then everybody had to find something or the other and try.
Yeah. And did you find something, like I'm reading from her letter, that she found interests that have I mean, there is a pleasure in doing the ordinary and mundane, I think. What people may dismiss as but the ordinary and mundane is so therapeutic, which as a working person or as a very busy parent, you may have not been able to do. Every day is you're on a treadmill. And now somebody is saying the treadmill is off. And you can to some extent wander, you can architecture your day or your week or your month the way you
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. That's how.
Which you feel, which you feel you're saying you said you're grateful
Without any pressure, without any just free, just do what you feel like, like not getting tied up with anything at the same time.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, any other points? Who else is here? Deep, there was Sangeeta. Anyone wants to talk? I wanted to just throw this. We won't discuss it here. I just wanted to tell you about our the theme for our next session. The theme is going to be, so you'll have a little food for thought maybe. It's going to be about grieving, healing, and moving on. For people who may have lost a spouse, a family, some close loss at our ages, at the ages we are going into. Grieving, healing, and moving on. How do you find your own pace? That's our theme. The pace at which one heals and move on. There's so much on, on social media, on reels, on healing and moving on. These are words that are becoming almost, they're just being tossed around so much. But what does it mean for each individual person, healing and moving on, and your pace at which you do it? We are going to look at that. There's a question from somebody already on this. And what I want to do in the next session is also, if people feel comfortable to talk about the specifics, like Varsha, you spoke about the specifics that you are doing, the specific things you're doing to sort out your, the next some years that are ahead of you, the specific things you want to say to your children. So it'll be I find it very useful and very, what is it, very energizing when people hear about each other's specifics. I did it this way, instead of generalizations. I find too many memes on social media, on self-help books. Too much of it depends on it's just people telling you what are in English are called truisms in cliches, which don't apply to your specific. I mean, that you tend to, it just bounces. You tend to feel, ye mujhe malum hai. But when we come together
Sorry,
like this, sorry, yes.
sorry, we have Pradeep Apte who's raised his hand. He's got a question. If we
Has
can
he raised his hand?
hear him out,
Okay,
please.
please do.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Pradeep.
Yeah, I think the discussion has gone on very well so far, and I think what Gauri has mentioned, and Janki's, the problems probably are common to all of us, all of us who are educated and then now retired.
Yeah.
I can tell you one instance. I was generally interested in music.
Okay.
And about a year ago, I came across a radio-like show. It's called as Nostalgiana. It's a group which has a program.
I'm on it myself.
Twice or thrice.
Pradeep, I'm a member myself.
Oh, you are a member of that group?
Yes, yes.
So likewise, I joined the group about a year ago. And believe me, I would like to continue, because what I found was that it does sort of give us particular slot in your timetable.
Yeah.
Saying that no, tonight I would like to hear some rare songs, or I would
Yes.
like to see what others are saying about a particular song.
That community that others are saying is very important, na?
So that is indirect way of communicating with people whom you actually don't know.
At all. Yeah.
And that has been quite pleasant and enjoying, So this, I would say, online life to some extent has made things easier.
Oh,
I mean,
definitely.
and
Yeah.
probably, so similar such ideas.
Yeah.
And then, you all have really taken a good initiative in Genes to
Yeah.
start these video talks.
That's right. That's right.
Sure,
Yeah.
more and more people are going to join and share their problems,
Yes.
and sort of one would find a solution also while
That's
you
right.
were
That's right.
explaining something.
Yes. Yes.
I could relate it to something, and then oh yeah, this is the way this lady has
That's right. This
figured
is
it out. So
yeah.
why not try
This is
something
how
like
the
that?
community builds.
So it
Correct.
was good. I like today's discussion.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Pradeep.
Okay.
I also just want to say to everybody that when you WhatsApp your questions, your identity will not be revealed. There'll be just the first name, and nobody is going to file away the correlate the identity and the number with the question, and even in the discussion here. Just wanted to clarify that. But this just the example Pradeep is giving, which is so somebody who you tell that you're doing this thing, say, I 3 times a week, I'm part of a group that plays old Hindi songs, 8 songs, radio feel. Some younger people may turn around and say, Arey, all the music you want is at your fingertips. Why do you need to be part of this group? Mood aaya, so you'll get what you want on YouTube, Spotify, this, that. But here again, it's like what we are doing here too, and which all of this app, all aspects of this app is building a community where there isn't a sort of random stab at doing something. Of course, I can go and find the music I want on wherever it is. Of course, I can get resources for something to do with aging, to do with entertainment for seniors. Of course, I can go out and find it here and there. The point is when you get it all inside one umbrella, like this app is doing. Of course, it becomes a easy go-to place instead of shopping around for what you want. So. I do hope that we manage to bring up something which isn't just अच्छा ऐसा है क्या इसके साथ ये हुआ क्या. It's not as specific as that. It's looking at the human condition, the the situations that all of us go through at all stages of our life. And like Pradeep is saying, to take from the particular and then take it and how it reflects or relates to you. What would I do in this situation? Or what would I tell Janaki about this? What would I have? We all have then internal dialogues going on with the people involved, which is, what would I tell her daughter? Part of me is really, really wishing that when a senior citizen sends these questions, that the one generation younger would be present and listen. I know the app is available only to people of a certain age and up, but I'm saying if they were to attend, I think last time there were a couple of young people, no, Shazib? I saw young
Yes.
faces. Yeah.
Yeah, those were members from the team, Gauri, because as
Okay.
we are at the beginning of the journey,
Ah,
so just to help manage the
okay.
conversation and
Okay.
the
I was pleasantly surprised. I thought out of interest, but it would be very, I wonder if you could open it to, now if tomorrow Janki, for argument's sake, a person in Janki's position, she tells her daughter, my question is going to be answered on this. Do you want to attend? Would it be okay for a younger person to attend? No, not possible, no? Under 50?
So, mm, No, not directly in the Zoom room,
Okay.
but what I can share is there's
Huh.
someone called Dipali Taneja who's sent some comments on the YouTube live stream. I can
Okay.
read it out to you. I'm not sure if she's under 60 or plus 60. She
Okay.
says this was related to the first part of the conversation,
Huh.
the question itself.
Huh.
She says the daughter needs to back off, let her lead her life as she chooses. Frightening her is cruel and unnecessary. I
Huh.
see the daughter as being overprotective out of fear of potentially having to look after a helpless parent.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, that was a comment. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
That is, and that's a relevant point of that fear of. So you start making things very efficient for yourself. Now, mother should be in a certain slot, and she should not, spread out of that slot. Mind sound is the slot, and nothing else is. So it may not be as openly cruel as that, but yeah, being a little too efficient with your parents. कि कल से तुम ये करना, कल से तुम ये नहीं करना. Then it will be all easier to manage as you age. It's a important point, and thank you to Deepali for that point. Yeah.
yeah,
We,
I being the sub 60 over here, I
yeah.
can just add a little perspective
Huh.
from our side that I don't think the at least for me, of course, it's always different for different people, also depending on whether they're staying with the parents or if they're living abroad
Of course.
and so on, because there's always the sense of responsibility that is running in your head, and part of that is not just that. That are my parents healthy, and am I taking care of all the things on that front, but also their happiness and comfort, and that's why since I have been working on this app, that's something that even I've been kind of seeking, that introduce my parents to this and to that, that do you want to do aqua aerobics to get fit, and so on, but it's very difficult to know whether um, for me, whether it's actually crossing a line that where they would feel that, hey, we are fine, we want to sit and watch TV most of the time, and that is the comfort, and
Huh.
we don't want to go out so much. Maybe we've done that enough in our life, and part of that is kind of this slowing down, which is intentional, and that gives you the comfort eventually. I guess for the kids as well as the parents, it's more about finding comfort in whatever one may prefer. So sometimes it's difficult to know, but it can only happen
And
with conversations.
correct, correct. And I think this thoda sa pushing and badgering when it comes to physical health, maybe it's important, and you feel needed as an older person if your children are looking out for you on this thing. And where sometimes they'll say, look, I'm watching, 4 days you haven't gone for a walk, suppose. I'm saying on that kind of stuff, that's a balance again. Yours or mine? Sorry, just put this on. Sorry. Yeah. uh I'm saying, uh, one is, I don't know if what the others feel, but I think it's sort of okay sometimes to push on health issues, about whether it's weight or whether it's food or whether it's exercise, a little bit. And there one can't say, look, I'm going to do my own thing, and nobody tells me what to do. It's not on, meaning it's part of aging, and that you have to look after yourself. If you're demonstrating that you're not able to look after yourself a lot, then your children are obliged to worry, in a way.
Right.
So,
Well,
yeah,
what I was saying is that besides the health part, sometimes it's hard for me to know that because I think only when I introduce something new that they may have never done
yeah,
before, also because of what life has been like before getting to that point.
yeah,
Um, Whether even that is something that is pushing too much, because you wouldn't know until you maybe sometimes present a bunch of options, and
yeah,
then they have something that they may feel like, yes, this is
yes,
something
correct.
that I would like to do. So, but I don't know if they begin to feel like it's over policing, or I'm
Uh,
trying
uh,
too hard when they just want to sit back and relax. In the case of my parents,
uh,
they are all ears. They're like, yeah, sure, we can try out all of these things, and
uh,
but I don't know how it would be for some other folks. So I just wanted
right, right,
to
yeah,
share that. Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. I think that. that your children are, that they care enough to send options your way is lovely. It's very important to know that. But then what that parent does with that option is the part where you then have to learn, as you're saying, it's a balance, whether to say, I tried. It's in a way exactly like when you have young kids and you say, okay, I must show you what there is out in the world. तुम स्केटिंग पे भी जाओ, तुम क्लासिकल म्यूजिक सीखो, ये करना है, वो करना है, वो करना है, I'll take you there and back. But if a kid just says, no, don't want to do any of this, you have to sort of grit your teeth and back off. What else can you do, you know? So,
Yeah, I think the healthy part over there is to be engaged in conversation at at frequent intervals, and to suss out how it goes, because sometimes something that they may reject at the beginning just because of having never done that before may suddenly become something that they may want to try.
yeah, correct, yeah. I think it's to sort of to sum up about this thing, that you demonstrate your concern rather than your worry, as I said earlier, is very important. You know, that I'm worried for you is you'll remember it as even when you were growing up, your parents just being free floating worried for you is very hard to work with. You know, so because it is such a non-specific thing, and it's only meaning that they're unhappy. Well, concern doesn't mean they're unhappy. Concern is an active involvement with you, you know. I'm worried, meaning you're eroding, they feel they're eroding their health, mental well-being. If you remain concerned, or if you are even the other way around with your parents, that I'm concerned for you. And all these things I'm offering you is not because I think there's no criticism embedded in what I'm offering you. If that is something that they catch, you know. It's just that there's a world out there, and if you want to plug into it, come along. I'm there. I'll take you there. You know, that might be a good approach for it.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Gauri, and
And Martha?
everyone here, Varsha, Sangeeta, Pradeep.
Yes.
But
Thank
yeah,
you.
we are about
And
it's time
Dipali.
to wrap up.
Ah,
And Dipali on
nice
YouTube.
one. Yes.
It's time to wrap up the session today, but I think it's been a very nice exchange. Thank you very much for your time, everyone, to be there,
Thank you.
and we look forward to see you on the next
Next
episode
week
next Friday.
about healing and
On
moving on. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Gauri.
Okay.
Bye.
Lovely. Yeah.